Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
You can play well, make correct decisions, and lose. And this is a really hard one, right? Because think about it. You come into a game, you have a flawless lane phase or a flawless early game as a jungler. You do everything. You're aware of your win conditions. You have great fundamentals. You know, both your side lanes lose, and, you know, they snowball, and you just lose.
Yeah.
You just lose.
It's crazy.
The whole
Bill.
idea. That you can play beautiful League of Legends and lose the game absolutely is mind-boggling to people.
Yeah, like me and you both been playing games in the Discord recently and recording our review process, and I've had many people come to me and say, like, it's very refreshing to see me review a loss quickly and just move on. Just review the game. Yeah. Like, he even said, he mentioned it in our chat this morning, it was Giorgio. He said, like, yeah, Charlie, I just like watching your reviews because they're so, like, logical and swift, and you can just see what happened for what it was and then move the hell on. And that's a skill which is not intuitive. That takes a lot of time to develop because you need to know how to, like, discard the wheat from the chaff or however they say it and then just move on with your life.
When you get very good at reviewing, I've had a few exactly right, the same comments actually from my 2-week challenge was like, I had a game or two where I'm like, I played pretty flawless.
Yeah.
I played really good League. I knew my win cons. I had a great lane. I'm farming really beautifully, good fundamentals, did everything. And I just lose this game.
Yeah.
And like people saw that, I'm like, wow, that's so... The fact that you just move away from this game and you played a beautiful game and you're just like moving on to another one and like but you're super logical about it, just breaking it down is so, it expands people's view of the game. They think,
I even say sometimes like, hey, I could have played this fight in a different way, but it wouldn't have been realistic for me to make that decision in the moment. So I'm not even going to try and change my behavior. Like, yes, like a robot probably would do this a bit differently, but like that's just it. Like that's where I'm at. That's what I did, and yeah, move on.
And that's where our BBC principle comes into play, where every game is equally the most important but least important game. And this is where volume comes into play, and you know, the 3-block process and all that, because you will not remember that game, Charlie, that you were talking about.
No.
You played in like maybe 7 days or 2 weeks. if you played enough games.
Yeah.
If you only play 3 games a week and that's one of your games, you're going to massively get affected by that. That pill that I made really good decisions, I still lost. Like, that's just League's the worst game in the world.
Yeah, you're right. Like, if we play enough sample size, the noise will be blocked out by enough actual games that matter and you can grab learnings from. Because you can't, that's another thing, you can't learn from every game.
yeah.
Some games you just don't get learnings.
Or there's just so minimal, that, especially with where you're at in your journey. It's like there's no point solving those problems.
Yes, exactly. You want to actually solve easy problems, which is another weird thing about League of Legends. You don't want to waste time solving impossible
Yeah, I
problems.
call them like calculus. It's like it's like a Kane starts our Raptors, takes our 3, red Krugs, takes our 3 camps topside. We didn't ward, we didn't know that happened. You know, it's so rare. Like, I'm not going to problem solve how to do this in the early game. You know?
I sometimes see ones where like someone get ganked and I pull up the replay and like this jungler like accidentally avoided wards, like ninja
that's
path.
right,
I'm just like, just die to the gank. It's all
And
good.
by the way, you don't lose the game because of that. You have so many more opportunities to win, even in those situations. I'm not telling you just insta-lose when the Canes takes your Raptors. There's a lot of principles you can apply that, but we don't really need to problem solve that. You know, there's so much more in the timeline of a game. Bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, the whole idea of being efficient with your learnings and being able to move past certain learnings it's a tough pill, but also just a skill that takes time to develop, right?
Correct.
I want to even echo the whole sentiment about having a good, bad day. You know, like you're gonna have a rough block, right? It's like, how do you have a good, bad block? What does having a good, bad block looks like?
Join 0-3.
You know, we're all gonna have 0-3 blocks. You're gonna play okay. You're gonna play to your level, and you just got a little bit unlucky. And the way you got to kind of mentally frame it is, okay, this is a bit of a shitty block. I don't feel too good about it, but you know what? How do I make the best out of this? All right, I'm going to take a few learnings. I'm not going to tilt queue. I'm going to get off the PC. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to come back with a fresh mind, and we can do it all again. You know, like learning how to just have a good bad block rather than just bloat that out to like a 7-game block and then just lose 6 of them. You're just going to regret it. And that's how you're, again, tying into the whole reducing self-sabotage.
Yep, and having a process is just like core to being able to manage those tough blocks.
Definitely. You know, the next one here, the game is changing, the player base is evolving, therefore it's hard to stagnate. You either improve or get worse. And this ties into the whole idea that your past achievements don't mean shit. Like, I come from the Counter-Strike background, and I remember there was this whole, like, culture around if you were a pro in 1.6, Counter-Strike 1.6, you're going to be dominate everyone in Source, and then if you're good in Source, you're going to dominate everyone in Go, and then so on and so forth. It's because the game fundamentally doesn't change.
Yeah.
Where League changes, literally the game is getting patched all the time. The play base is evolving. The game is much more complex. So you can't rest on your laurels. Just because you got Diamond in Season 3 doesn't mean you deserve anything in Season 15.
How many players from back in the day can still maintain high challenger?
Very
Little to none.
Little to none.
Yeah.
And it's a tough pill to swallow because our ego wants to feel like, you know, we deserved it.
Yeah.
You know, we've got there before. Why can't we get there again? I was better than all these people before, and now I'm not. Like, that is a really, really hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, even someone who, let's say, was Diamond in Season 9, took a 3-season break, they expect to get to Diamond, back to Diamond really quickly, and that doesn't happen. That just explodes. You know, even a 2-season break.
Even one season.
Yeah, 1 season.
Like, if you got, think about it, let's be real here, right? If someone got Emerald at this time last year, what's the likelihood that they're going to get back to Emerald in a short amount of time now?
Yeah, they'll probably struggle through plat for a little bit.
They'll be stuck in low plat for sure.
Yeah, they would. They would need to put in some serious work to
Serious
understand
work.
how the game has changed, develop champ mastery again, back to square one, and have humility to do that. You must humble yourself to the difficulty of the game, and people don't do that. They anchor to the past rank, and then they, instead of trying to improve to get back to their rank, they try and claw their way back to the rank win by win, counting the LP.
Yeah, counting,
and then it's just end of review at that point.
Because they're not actually playing for the learning, they're playing to claw back their LP.
Because their mindset, okay, I'm going to get back to my old level and then let's start.
Yeah, that word back in that sense. Get back to my rank.
the logic is fundamentally flawed, again, because the game has changed. The play base has evolved, and, you know, where you were in that season is not comparative.
But also just muscle memory and, like, feeling the game. You got to get that feel back.
Yeah.
You know, like,
you always reference this when you tried to go back to the game, Nathan. Like, and the only way you were able to do that was when you accepted your level of play.
Oh,
that's the way you always put it, right?
I mean, just recently I've been playing a bit more, and we were playing, and you were talking to me about some decision making that, like, I was missing some gank opportunities. I said, yeah, I'm just slow. Like, I know what to do. I'm not at that feel, that pace of the game yet. I just need to get the reps back in. Reps are so important in League of Legends, and the intuition. This is the whole intuition logic thing. You know, like, you can't Reddit analyst your way into improvement of the game.
Yeah, there's actually way more pills than 7. Another pill is that repetitions matter. It's like a combination of, like, practice and knowing concepts. Like, you can't climb through just knowing concepts, and you can't climb while, sustainably anyway, like, just through smashing out games, but you do need to smash out games, and you do need to know concepts.
It's both.
It is both, yeah.
And it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's the logic and intuition. It's what it all comes back to. And last one here, Charles. This is one that you added, that the improvement journey begins when you plateau.
Yeah. So a lot of people basically, let's say they start the game. You could play for, let's say, a year, right? Steadily climbing. You get to level 30, you start playing ranked. Maybe you've got a bit of a gaming background, as a lot of people do these days. They get into ranked, they climb, they start in like bronze, they go silver, they go gold, they go platinum. Bam, hit a wall, mid-plat. And then at that point, some players will stay there forever. Never move past that point because they set this standard of when I play League, I slowly climb. But what they fail to understand is that the journey really starts when you hit your baseline.
Because they weren't really improving. Like, they would just get into their baseline because of gaming background. They might have a certain sort of gaming background or whatever that helped them quickly pick up concepts, and it was just a very linear progress. And then the moment when it stops, they just explode because that was their experience with the game the whole time. And that's when they started blaming external factors like the game, my teammates, all that sort of stuff. When you're saying they were going to get to platinum anyway, regardless, and then now we actually need to start putting the work.
Yeah, now that we've kind of articulated it like this, I think this is the majority of the player base. I think the majority of the player base kind of play up to their quote-unquote natural level and then sit. And then it's only people that really push and adopt a growth mindset or break through that barrier with brute force games. They're the kind of the two ways that we've really seen it happen, who can actually achieve past what they were kind of quote-unquote capable of when they installed the game. So it's a bit of a touchy subject, but I think like just assuming that the game kind of begins when you get stuck, it doesn't end when you get stuck. Because a lot of people will say like, oh, you're just a stuck like diamond player, but that's when it starts.
It's interesting because I think this is a bit of a multifaceted problem. I think it simultaneously boils down to, I think, number one, the feedback cycle is so overwhelmingly difficult. A lot of people don't even want to begin tackling that plateau, or they don't know how to start, right? Because think about it. If you hit your plateau and you start like just coin flipping games and 50% win rate at a rank, and you put in 100 games and you're still at that same rank, a lot of people's like, I don't even know where to begin. I can't even tell you what's happening in my games. Even if they were to load up a VOD, I would say, what, 90% of people, you know, we're talking in a you know, say mid-tier elo bracket, say gold, plat, emerald.
Yeah.
Couldn't really tell you why they're losing. Think about how many times we ask a member in our academies, why do you think this was? What do you want to look for today? What do you think's going wrong? How many, if you gave it a percentage, how accurate their assessment was of that game and what the real key learnings were, what would you say?
2% maybe?
Yeah, I was going to say 0.
one or two?
Very slim, right?
Yeah, very
Basically
slim.
0%.
Nearly every single review in that elo bracket ends with them saying something along the lines of, wow, I never would have noticed this myself. You've said this is great. I would never have seen this in my own review.
So that my point is that because it's so overwhelming to know what is actually going wrong, again, how to fix it, what is the solution, how do I even implement this?
Yeah.
That's why I think the plateau point is such a touchy subject.
Yeah.
You know, it's not because people